Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show, and welcome to another episode of an ink review. Today, we are looking at blackish ink from Sailor Urameku Hana Gokoro. Here is our ink of the day, and this is our comparison panel. Turn some lights on so you can see it's kind of a light black. It's like a black. I don't really see any sheen going, but there might be something very interesting is happening with our ink swatch. There's like a red sheen. I don't even know how to describe what's going on here. I mean, like, it's not sheen. It's very strange. Water resistance test shows it does have a little bit of water resistance, but not quite enough that I would feel comfortable using it on the outside of an envelope, for fear it may wash away. Here is our toilet paper chromatography. There's like blue and some tan and some pink going on in here. This is a weird ink. I have no idea. All right. Have some. I don't want to write on that because I want to be able to use it next week. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Well, hello, Bumblebee. How are you doing today? I can't see you. There you are. How are you doing today? Are you having a nice day? I want to keep that. I want to keep that. Okay, this piece, I can use this piece. So, I just got done watching the stream scribe. I love that guy. I am really grateful that you introduced me to him. And I won a booking. I don't know how I did it. So, alright, what is this? Sailor Urameku Hana Gokoro. Not really great for super fast tracking, but really nice for slow tracking, so that's good. I want a booking. So, on the stream scribe, he does giveaways, essentially, and he does these card things. I don't quite know how to describe it. He has this thing that he calls Now I can't remember the name of it. I'm freezing because I'm trying to think of my ink review. He calls it something funny. He calls it... I almost said getting hijacked, but no, it's... I can't remember what he calls it. Getting jailed? Criminally? Anyway, he does this thing where he does giveaway, and you put an exclamation point mine in the chat, and then there's a program, and it does a random generated picker, and then you get a book. You can win a book, which is like a moleskin. And he did a book, or criminal activities. That's what it's called. Criminal activities. He gives away a book. He does one of those die roll things where there's like 20 die. He does a big old die. It's got a 20 roll, and 20 is like you could do a thing, and then he has like a keychain, a frame, which is like a piece of paper inside of a paper frame, and then he does like mugs, which is like really fancy, like wow. And then I don't know what that means. Dodecahedron, yes. Dodecahedron. The 20 die roll, right. And so he does criminal activities where he gives away things. He calls giving the moleskin book away a booking. And then he does like writing, he does calligraphy on it. Anyway, he's a calligrapher who does fancy things on stuff, which is really cool. So if you guys are into calligraphy, then go check him out. He's on Twitch. He is at the Stream Scribe. That's twitch.tv/thestreamscribe. So go check him out. Okay, on with the review. My hands are all oily because I had a split in my skin. It is so dry here. They split my freaking skin while I was sleeping, and I woke up screaming. I was like, oh my god, it's so dry here. 20%. So dry. Okay, let's do a thing. I don't know why this stupid thing always makes it go slow. It's driving me crazy. Okay. Am I appearing slow to anybody else? Just asking because my Computer is doing something stupid, and I don't know. Fine, we'll do this. Usually this one keeps up. Alright. Fine, we'll just close the browser altogether. This is the Pen and Gear memo book from Walmart.com. Let's zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. Can I have some? Thank you. Ooh, this one's feathering a little bit. And when it is bleeding through, that's too bad. Lightweight Traveler's Notebook paper. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. A little bit of ghosting. Super lightweight Traveler's Notebook paper. There's a little bit of feathering right there. How about that? A little bit of heavy ghosting. Fabriano Eco Qua 85 GSM. No feathering, no bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. Pelican. This is the Pelican Hub tablet that they gave at the Pelican Hub. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. Colt pens. Colt pens stationery. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. Sorry, excuse me. That's better. Alright. This is the Idea A680 GSM notebook. No feathering, no bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. Alright, this is 68 GSM Tumaway River. No feathering, no bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. This is Midori MD Paper 80 GSM. No feathering, no bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. Cosmo Airlight 75 GSM. No feathering, no bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. The Jot Journal from the Dollar Tree. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is Soft String Greens, Handles Company. No feathering, a little bit of ghosting. Marmon, Nemosity, 80 GSM dot grid. You can definitely see that golden summer trying to peek through, steal the scene. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. Oxford Optic Paper. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is actually black and red, but is made with optic paper. I don't know if there's any difference between the red and black Oxford paper and the other Oxford paper, so we're just gonna try this new stuff out. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM. It's got a little bit of wiggle in it. No bleeding, a little bit of ghosting. Stream with your crew more this year using CollabCam. I want to use CollabCam. How many millions of dollars do they want for it? Or is it like a plugin for Zoom? Collab Cam. Welcome to Collab Cam. 3 easy steps. Copy, share with your guest. They can join, be able to see and hear you. Verify their identity in the preview. Enjoy your stream. Wow. One ball. I wonder if they have to have stream cam 2. I mean, Streamlabs 2. I will have to figure this out because I would love to have guests on. That would be awesome. Hi, Tom Morley. How are you doing today? Hi, Blonde Scales 1. How you been? How you been? We are doing notebook comparisons on different inks. Yep. Every day I do a different ink sample, and I do it on multiple different papers to see what it looked like, if it has any differentiating characteristics. Sometimes they feather, sometimes they bleed, sometimes they ghost, sometimes they sheen. See this golden summer? It's got some sheen that's trying to steal the scene. Sometimes you can tell the different colors. Some are real light, some are real dark. Some inks have shimmer in them. Some are real light and they have shading properties. Some have different colors of shimmer in it. So these are the things that I try and show you guys, so that way you can make a choice if you would like to purchase that ink sample from your local retailer. I am not trying to sell you anything. I am not trying to get sold anything, although if you use a specific notebook and you would like it to be reviewed, you can send a couple of pieces to this address. This is a business address, and I will receive it and I will give it a full month of review. If you have ink samples that you don't want and you want to share them with the community, I will review them. I have several hundred ink samples on my channel. If you find a color that you find interesting, you can look it up on Google, on the YouTube's, in the eyeglass section. I don't know how to, in the search icon on my profile. So when you go to my YouTube, this is usually how it comes up when you go to the and if you search the eyeglass for, say, Sailor, you can go through and you can see all of the Sailor inks that I have ever reviewed. Same thing goes for Diamine or any of the other inks or pens that I've reviewed. I also review fountain pens, ink, and paper. Mostly fountain pen inks and paper. But every once in a great while, I do like to review the occasional fountain pen. I do teach calligraphy on my channel. You can search that by going to the... And it's just basic calligraphy. You can find those by going to the playlists and then searching through the fountain pen calligraphy classes, modern fountain pen calligraphy class, dip pen calligraphy, Introduction to Calligraphy is probably a great place to start for people who don't know what they want to learn. Also, some good tips and tricks are in there. And then the rest are just kind of showing you the letter forms of flexible calligraphy. Ever tried the coffee notes from Cult Pens? No, I don't believe I have. Coffee notes. Isn't that this thing? What did I do with it? I just threw it. Isn't that this thing? Coffee notes? I don't know. This is Cult Pens. This is Cult Pen Stationery. A6 120 GSM. Line squared plane. So, we're giving this a go. Alright, this one is new to me. This one is New Eco paper. And you can see how this one, if you look closely at the lines around, you can see that there's no little, what looks like feathering. And the little lines that are coming out from the main line, that's feathering. And what do we say? We feather like a chicken. And sometimes it comes through the page, but this time it's only a little bit, it's kind of pretending to be a ghost. It's kind of got a little bit of ghosting, Some pages are naughty. Some pages are super naughty, and they go right through the page. This is Moleskin. We don't review Moleskin anymore because you can only stand so much bleeding through a page. Everything bleeds through Moleskin 70 GSM. It's just not great paper for fountain pens. Same thing with Field Notes Journal. This is Field Notes Journal. I mean, it looks okay, kinda. But then if you flip to the back of the page, would you use the back of that page? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So I try and review papers that I would use the back of the page with. I give them an ample amount of light, so that they can be known. And then I put them on my website, MissMarilynDarling.com / paper reviews. Under paper reviews, you can see the different side-by-sides of each of these papers that I reviewed. Here's Rhodia and J&B Copperplate Graph Pad. Here's some Aqua B. You can see the side-by-sides of all of the papers that I reviewed for the month of December. And every month, I'm going to try and go through and scan and upload a new month's worth of reviews. So you can see and make a decision for yourself if you want to buy that paper or that ink. Because sometimes you'll see that some inks bleed through and others do not. So you might want not to just don't buy that ink for this paper. It's very rare that Or like if you have some crappy paper, then perhaps maybe whatever this is, you could get away with using this in an extra fine nib. Finer nibs tend not to bleed through as much as broad nibs. Everything here is the worst case scenario. I try and use the broadest, wettest pens possible, because if it bleeds through with a broad, wet pen, it's going to bleed through the most heaviest of papers. And if it doesn't bleed through, then I could probably use the back side. And then sometimes the paper will have certain areas that are finer or more unrefined as other papers. So it just really depends on the paper and how it's made and things like that. So there you go. Okay, on with the review. I hope that was more explanatory than... I hope that was helpful. Alright, this is Apica 81.4 GSM. Gonna scooch in so I can see what we're looking at. I try to be as thorough as possible. If you guys have any questions, you can always ask them. I will try and do my best to answer them. This is Apica 81.4 GSM. There's no feathering, no bleeding, and barely any ghosting. Now, questions I don't really talk about are, what is the dry time? One reason I don't talk about the dry time is because you live in a different place than I live, and the humidity and the temperature completely changes wherever you are in the world. If you are in a very dry part of the world, your ink might dry faster. If you are in a very humid part of the world, your ink may dry slower. If it dries slower, it may feather into the page more. But if you live in a very humid environment, it might, or if you live in a dry part of the world, it might absorb, it might evaporate quickly and stay on the top of the page. So it really just depends on what kind of ink and paper and pen you are using. Alright, this is a Yush 100 GSM paper. Should I throw it away? I had a clean out yesterday. Let me tell you, I threw out all kinds of stuff. Hi, Obs, how are you doing today? Notebooks made from recycled coffee cups. I've never heard of that. That's very interesting. Oh, well, that's very interesting. Alright, this is a Yush 100 GSM paper. It's got a little bit of sheen going on. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. This is the Nanami 7 Seas 68 GSM Tomoe River. You can find this paper at dromghouls.com. There's a little bit of shading going on. No feathering, no bleeding, barely any ghosting. I'm alright, hanging in there. Alright, this is CVS Caliber filler paper from CVS Pharmacy. No feathering, no bleeding, barely any ghosting. This is Oxford notebook paper. No feathering, no bleeding, barely any ghosting. This is the Penn & Garrett heavyweight notebook paper from Walmart.com. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. If you can't see it through the page, it's not ghosting. Alright, this is HP Premium 32-pound copy paper. There's a little bit of feathering. You can see it trying to come away from the main line, but there's no bleeding and no ghosting. So that's good. Remember, these are the worst case scenarios. So if you use a medium, a fine, an extra fine nib, you might be able to use this. This is Rhodia Dot Pad 80 GSM. No feathering, no bleeding, no ghosting. There is just the tiniest bit of sheen going on too. Interesting. And sometimes sheen shows up and it's unexpected. Other papers, like this one, show no sheen hardly whatsoever. You can tell because the golden summer here looks way different than the golden summer on here. You can see the sheen bits coming through. But there's no sheen coming through on others. So, something to consider. This is the JNB Copperplate Graph Pad from JohnNeilBooks.com. There's a little bit of wiggle. I don't really see any sheen. No, there's a little bit of bleeding. You see where it comes through the page? Micro bleeding. Little bit of bleeding and a lot of bit of ghosting. You can tell the inks don't really bleed through that good. Original Crown Mill 100 GSM paper. It's got a little feather right there, and a little feather right there, a little bit of feathering, and a little bit of bleeding, and a little bit of ghosting. Okie dokie. Okay, now we're going to do a comparison panel. If I can have some. So, I have a whole bunch of inks that I have reviewed in the past. And we're going to compare them to today's ink. And what you can do is if you see an ink that you already have, you can be like, oh, well, this one's 2 shades lighter than this ink. Oh, this was 2 shades darker than this ink. So this is like a dark blue, but we're going to go through the blacks first to see if there's anything that might look like it. I am going to boost the light, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see what's going on. To see if we can see any differences. Alright, this is Sailor Hana Gokoro next to Diamine Nightfall. Birmingham Tailings Pond. Sailor Uramekozare Gokoro. These are very similar with the sheen. You can kind of see that there's like a sheeny property going on. Visconti Black, Monte Grappa Dark Gray, Pelican Edelstein Onyx, Private Reserve Velvet Black, Enderilium Common Loon Black, MMD Starry Night, Matthew, Schwartz Rose. This kind of looks like it might be similar, but don't be fooled. This is shimmer, not sheen. Nero Vesuvio, Takesumi, Shooting at the Moon, Polar Lights, Food Color Black, Diatramentus Black Roses, Monteverdi Blue Black, J.R. Bond Shogun. Don't be fooled by this one either. This one has copper shimmer. Sailor black, Twisby black, Krishna black, Monteverde onyx, Pilot black, Lamy black, Birmingham cast iron, Noodler's polar black, Diatramentus archive black, Jinhao black, Parker Quink black, Noodler's X-Feather, Platinum Carbon black, Diatramentus George Washington, Cali Inks Jet black, Diamond Night Sky. Oh, excuse me. It's yawn time. That's what time it is. Robert Oster Motor Oil. This one kind of has like a brownness to it. Noodler's Bad Black Moccasin. Diamond Solar Storm. Diamond Seize the Night. See, this one kind of has that sheeny looking property, but I can't really tell if it's the ink or if it's the sheen that's creating that color. Very similar though. Borealis black, Platinum, Freedom of the Starry Skies, Diatramentus Document black, and Diamond Astral. Are there any grays in here that might lean that way? Sparkling Shadows has like that gold shimmer. If I'm going too quickly, what you can do is you can pause right before the part that you think it might be next to, and then you can use the period and the comma relatively to move forward and backwards through the video. This one's lighter, but kind of that same flavor. This is getting close. Oops. And that's it. Wow, what did you guys think about today's ink? Do you have this ink? Are you thinking thoughts about getting this ink? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. That's all I've got for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. Don't forget to check out my new website. Join the calligraphy class. Check out the paper reviews page. Join my Discord, link in the doobly-doo, and if you'd like to save 10% off on your next order to Pen Boutique, click the link in the description. And I will be back very soon with another video. So take care until then. Okay, love you, bye. Have a great day.